Welcome to Dad Influence. I'm Juju.
Badger's here too. I think we got to talk about Texas.
What about Texas?
Some jerkwad went in there and killed some kids. You know, this is actually a large portion of the reason. You know, outside of the way that they're teaching in these schools, it's a large part of the reason why I really want to either do some kind of private school or, swap off school. I think that I was thinking about that. I don't know if anybody ever had that idea.
What?
Just to go off on a small tangent. Say I want to homeschool my kid, right?
Right.
And you want to homeschool your kid, right?
Yeah.
And there's another guy that wants to homeschool their kid, and there's another guy, right?
Right.
And say you're good at math, I'm good at science, she's good at English, she's good at math. You know what I mean? History.
Right.
And we just rotate our kids every so often. That way they have a classroom. We know that the kids are getting taught.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what the kids are getting taught, and if somebody comes into somebody's house with an AR-15, they're getting met with another one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they won't stand around for an hour waiting.
Right.
So
I thought about homeschooling.
that's kind of what I'm saying. I really want to do it, dude.
Yeah,
And I'm down. If you want to do a trade program between us two, I'm down to start doing that. I'm fucking nerdy as hell when it comes to the history, and I'm pretty good with economics and stuff.
But for me, it's you gotta get with the other parent too.
What's that? Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah, you got to co-parent to work
but at the
with.
same time, she might, depending on the situation.
Yeah, you could explain that to her. Look, and I mean, at the same time, at this point, it's now a safety concern.
Right.
Because they're not even doing anything to try to keep these kids protected in these schools.
Oh, I did see one school.
Because gun control won't do anything. It really won't.
I seen it really won't, cause I'm gonna get a little dark and fucked up right now, right? If they took the ability to legally buy a gun, illegally buying one is still an option, bro. And it's not that hard.
Well, I mean, look
I mean,
at we legalized drugs to keep people from doing drugs. How'd that work?
We got drug dealers.
You know what I mean? That's
And
really what it is. All you do is push things to the shadows.
Right.
And then the likelihood of the people that have them to be doing bad things with them is very high. Rather than it being a low likelihood and,
and then
everybody being equally protected.
And then we get the worst type of corpo, the black market one.
Say again?
We get the worst type of corpo after all that, the black market.
Exactly.
Oh no, jack shit.
Black markets are worse, dude. They really are. Black markets really make things horrible.
Might be.
I wonder if that even recorded.
I bet it did.
Like that pating. Oh Lord.
That'd been loud as hell too.
But yeah, that brings me to the point. It's how are we going to actually protect these kids in these shootings? In my opinion, it's really about access control.
Being real.
What do you think? Let me listen to what you think we should do.
Okay, first of all, I have to be blunt and serious. If you want to protect your kids, there's only so much you can do after a while. You know what I mean?
That's real.
Let's just be kind of real with it. But on the same hand, before all this, we needed better security for schools. Before all the shootings, we always needed better security. You know what I mean? With every type of school. And some schools need to be, oh my God. I'll talk to them later. And then some schools, I never forget I did security at school, right? And I guarded the front entrance. And I thought that was a great idea. But here's the not great idea. Me not having a gun.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you want me to make sure I pay attention to who goes in, right? at a school, what the fuck do you want me to defend these kids with? 911. Hell,
just show up and wait an hour.
hell, I feel safe. Contrary, I don't fuck with police, but I feel safe with my kids with cops around. You know what I mean? Somewhat.
I feel what you're saying. But here's what I think the way that you rock with this. Like, you already got an SRO.
Yeah.
It's one cop. I think that guy's good to go. I think that's pretty much what you need.
Yeah.
Right? You have that one guy, you post him up at the front entrance.
Yeah.
You're wanding everybody that comes in when it's time to let school in.
Yeah.
Right? No guns are going to make it in.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I've said. If you really sit down and think about it, when's the last time you heard of a mass shooting in the inner city?
Right.
You know, it never happens. And
Right.
it's not because black kids don't shoot us. Dude,
It's because they have
half
no
those
detect-
kids are in fucking gangs, and they shoot each other outside of school.
21 Savage.
And that's the thing is like
21 Savage had to bring a gun to school to prevent bullying, bro.
yeah, like in like places like Chicago and shit.
Right.
There's like a hella gang presence even in the schools, and like it's horrible. It's bad.
Right.
And that's and
That's another topic we can get on.
that's a whole other topic. But like, because of that, they've made adjustments because like if not, you'd have shootings every day in those schools.
Right.
Because there's those beefs that go back and forth. So
it has happened before. It's
happened
not
before.
televised.
And the thing is the reason why it doesn't really happen is because they got people out there. There's access control.
Right.
There's one point of entry. There's literally what do they call those things? The little vestibule, like the little rooms. Like you go in and you're stopped in this other room, and they talk to you, and then they'll let you in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. What's it called?
I forget what they call it.
Have to, bro.
But yeah, and then you put alarms on every door that goes off if they're let open for more than, freaking a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like all of this stuff is easily prevented. Like if you had all of that I'm talking about, right, at that school in Texas, that guy would have walked around the school with a gun for his hour till the cops shot him.
Right.
He would have never got in.
Right.
Those kids would have been all alive. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing is it's the same thing with Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
If there was wands and metal detectors, he wouldn't have been able to sneak in fucking shotgun.
I do DoorDash, right? I do DoorDash, right? And some of these schools are like tight. You know what I mean? Like, I had to call. I was standing out there for like 5 minutes until like a security guy walked up to me like, "What are you here for?" You know what I mean? Like, they were locked down. Like, it looked like it was a building you just walk in and just open up the door and you're good, right? Nah, bro. You have a specific building. You have one building to go into. So you parked in the back, you fucked up. You have to walk all the way to the front.
Right. And like I said, that level of access control would help.
And hell, everything's bulletproof, of course. But I think
that level of access control would help.
Right.
That specific school shooting. But what I'm talking about would help all of them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like it's kind of one of those things. It's like bank robberies used to happen all the time, and why don't they happen anymore?
No, there's cop stations in some banks.
Huh?
There's cop stations in some banks.
It's not even just that. It's literally like all
Access
the bills
control.
are marked. By the time you get to the safe and all of that, there's the cops are literally going to be surrounding the fucking building by the time you walk out.
They just made it more expensive.
They made it to the point where anybody fucking knows there's no way you're getting in and out with the money.
Right.
There's no way. So it's like, well, that's their intent. They're going after the money when they're robbing a bank, right? What's the intent of a school shooter? They want to kill a bunch of kids. If they know there's no way they're going to get in there and kill a bunch of kids at the school, they'll stop trying to do it.
Right.
The same reason why people stop trying to rob banks. It used to happen all the fucking time.
You know what I've seen some churches,
You know what I mean?
You know what I've seen some churches do
Because it
lately?
was somewhat possible to get away with.
You know what I've also seen a lot of churches do lately?
What's that?
They have the same thing. In access control. They have like a cop out there every Sunday, bro. Like, from church start to church beginning and shit. Just planted there.
Access control, dude.
Right.
That's all you need.
Right.
It's that's what I'm saying is it's not. That's something I've said is like you can have a gun-free zone. You just have to actually make sure there's no guns in the zone.
Right.
Like if you're just gonna have a sign or a sticker on the window, you might as well just put a sign or sticker that says murder-free zone and just let people carry their guns. Because at the end of the day, it's just as effective on the guy who's gonna shoot the school up.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Like we can on a deeper level though. On a deeper level, I really don't like how the media is portraying this thing as still a gun talk without really talking about it as a act of violence done to another man. You know
Well,
what I
like I
mean?
said, it's not even just that. Why is this not going? Again, why is this conversation really not about security?
Right.
Like I said, this whole situation is obvious. It's very obvious to look at it and go, how the fuck did he get access to these kids?
It's not how he got his
Like
gun.
at least in the other situations, we could be like, oh, it's tragic, it's crazy. This guy brought a gun to school. You know what I mean? Like in this situation, he didn't go to that school. He showed up to the school and then went and shot it up. You know what I mean? Like, how did he have access to the kids to shoot them?
Right.
How was he able to get in the school in the first place?
Like, how many times is it gonna happen for you to really understand that? My drilling, my Marine recruiter, he talked about that shit. We went to go do a talk at a high school, right? And we just walked the fuck in and went to the classroom. No one asked us questions, nothing, bro. We just walked in, and he was like, "Bro, you saw how easy it was for us just to walk in there." I'm like, "Yeah." And we forgot and what's fucked up.
And it's like you think you're leaving your kids. See, that's the thing is like you watch your kids like a hawk because you care. You want to make sure that they're not going to get hurt and whatever. And it's like you leave your kids at these, schools thinking, hey man, they got them locked up tight. They got them taken care of. But that's not a fact. That's the issue. Right? Because even if you had access control correct, like even if you did have a kid, God forbid, sneak a gun into the school, right? They would get one classroom at max, again with the correct access control. Because you're never gonna get to the next classroom; they're all fucking locked.
Right.
How are they going classroom to classroom to classroom?
Right, and have video cameras in the classroom too.
That's what I'm saying is like this shit does not make any sense. Like this is basic access control. Like I worked in a factory for Securitas doing security at one point.
Right.
Right? And like, dude, there's no way we would have got shot up. There's so many, like, you can't get anywhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, you get that.
Like, you have to have the badge. Like, you couldn't get outside to smoke a cigarette without a badge.
Right.
Like, if you lost your badge, you had to have somebody take you to the security office. Because you couldn't get to it.
Right. And you had to walk into it too, bro. I remember. You did get those assholes to just jump the turnstile, though. All the time.
Like I said, there was no turnstile to jump. Like the closest you could come to jumping the turnstile would be if like somebody else was going through that particular door at that particular moment.
No, bro, you remember?
You could go and like basically hold the door open and go behind them. I used to do that to go take smoke breaks and not get caught.
Remember that side office? That side office at I forgot what you get.
Because they were giving me shit for how many times. Because they were looking at the badge reader, seeing how many times I was going out to smoke a cigarette when I was roving.
Yeah.
And I literally would just started sneaking behind other people. When they would hit their badge, I would go behind them.
You know what I did?
And my badge wouldn't be on the thing.
Remember I know what I did?
Because my cousin was the one watching the cameras. You know what I mean?
You remember that gate? Like right that
I wasn't getting in trouble with him.
In that truck gate where they had that little side door you had to scan your badge in.
Yeah.
I used to put paper clips up there all the time.
That's what I'm saying, though. But that's why I say also, knowing, again, from actually working security, you need alarms on these doors when they're held open for a certain amount of time.
We do that at work, actually.
Yeah, because that will cause some big holes in your security. People just being like, I'm going to put my wallet in this door and go smoke a cigarette out this door real quick.
Yeah. At my job and shit, we had this fire exit open so we can just go outside and smoke. I never forget OSHA fucking came by. And they said you need to start closing that door and fix that alarm on the door. We just never did.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's why I say you need alarms on these doors for when they're held open for.
We don't even have security at that.
And that's literally why they have those systems to do that set alarms on the doors for that, because it's not an uncommon thing to create a giant hole in your security. You can have that shit locked up completely tight, and somebody smoking a cigarette is the reason somebody broke in.
Bro, you hate to be that person too.
You know that got fired as fuck.
Feeling some type of way. I'm like, yeah, damn. I just wanted to smoke a cigarette, man.
I just went out there for 2 minutes, man.
Listen, smoking a cig, man.
Turn my back for 2 minutes, and these guys walked right in the fucking door.
Dead.
And the bullshit part is they took my wallet too, so I couldn't get back in.
Bro, I have a funny security story, right? It was just some random, when I worked security, I was like, a floater too, right? So I got to this factory where they just needed one guy just to walk the plant just to make sure someone doesn't break in. And it was a Pacific person too. And how much I was getting paid an hour?
How much?
20.
Hell yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's money.
Oh yeah.
Just walk around and look at shit.
Right.
That was a cake-ass job. Why you leave that?
Oh, it was just a fucking one-time thing.
Oh, that's some bullshit.
You know how security talk was, bro.
It'd been good to be all the time. That'd have been a cake-ass job, dog. I mean, at the same time, I was walking around looking for broken CDs, basically.
I never forget some asshole was like, oh, I got a DVD in my butt. And I'm like, you just have a DVD in your butt crack, bro. And then the next day he got fired for sneaking the DVD in his butt.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even care. I'm not going for it. What was I getting paid then? Like $8 or $9 an hour? I ain't digging in somebody's butt for $8, $9 an hour.
I let so much shit go.
Definitely not digging in somebody's butt. Hell yeah, but that was hella money though. I was working like fucking 96 hours a week.
Oh god, I remember that shit.
Cause they give you hella overtime. They're
right.
Like, as much overtime as you want, really. Cause I'll run your pockets. I work like 16 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Right. You made. I'm not gonna say it on the podcast, but I was gonna name drop. No, you ain't eating. Oh, okay. I thought you about to get those freaking Fritos.
Yeah, heck no, dog. I already know you're gonna get mad at me if I start chewing on the podcast again.
Loud as hell.
Sometimes you gotta eat, dog.
Loud as hell?
Yes.
Ridiculous. But I don't miss security though.
I mean, I miss how easy it really was.
Some places.
Like, it literally was just like, you were a glorified snitch. That's all you were. You were there to wait till something happens and then tell when it happened.
I was the guy.
Like, when the police show up, you're supposed to be like, hey, this is what happened. And you have a little bit more credibility than a regular dude because you have this, like, badge and you're getting paid to be a security guard.
Right.
Somehow that's something. Our world is just kind of fucking stupid. When you really, like, when you really pulled back the curtain and you realize what it is, it's like somebody goes to like some little training camp for a couple of weeks and they're a cop, and so all of a sudden we think that they're more trustworthy humans
No.
and that they lie less.
No.
Like, or it's the same thing with me. It's like I went through like a
2-hour course or something.
2-hour course, and it's like all of a sudden now I'm not a liar.
Bro, I was a security guard at my normal sites, right? When
I'm not, but still.
when they saw me come in, they were like, "Yeah, I can get away with a little bit of shit here now."
Yeah, I used to chill there, dude. It was a dope ass little spot. It was a lazy job, dude. The most work you did was you had to rove, and then all you did with roving was walk around and look at stuff. I said look for broken CDs.
I never forget. I disconnected the camera screen to play my PS4.
I know. My cousin was working. He was working at the gate at like one of these gated communities.
Right.
Right. That's what he ended up doing. And the man brought his flat screen, his Xbox, and everything.
Oh, I've done that before too.
And was sitting up in there the whole day playing Xbox.
You know, it was on Thanksgiving. I was working Thanksgiving, and I asked my supervisor, like, "Can I bring my flat screen in?" And they were like, "Yeah, I don't care. You're gonna be here all day." He's like, "You want to work a double?"
Dude,
like,
I'm not even joking. He did it every single day, dog. Every day. That man brought it. Like, okay, let me rephrase that. When I say he did it every day, some days he brought his computer and his flat screen and played different games, and it wasn't his Xbox. But it was every day. That's all he did was sit up there and play games and push a button to open the gate when people came.
I love how we're talking about school security, and I can see the security guard. And
this is why we're talking about security. But this is what the reason why we're bringing this up is we've both actually worked security before. Right. So we actually understand where the holes in security are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's in a bored motherfucker just chilling. You know, 90% of the time. So and that's why I don't really think you need an extra security guard per se. I think
just have one security guard for
the SRO that's already there could just be, you know, roving around the school.
Right.
And he can be posted up there just, you know, and, you know, if you have a bigger school that has a shitload of kids, then you have more than one SRO.
I say this. So, have one main entrance. Have at least 2 security guards.
Right. And then all the other entrances only open out.
And have one cop. Just to make a rest.
Right. I mean, like I said, there's a way to do this if you wanted to.
Right.
So I think that if you wanted to really do this correctly, you could. But I don't think that's.
But what you don't do, and this is a real.
I don't think that's actually the point. I think honestly, and this is my conspiratorial mind. What? I think that the state really wants to take our guns.
Yeah.
I think they're really scared. Because if you look at the approval ratings of a lot of these things, it's like the trust in institutions is all-time low.
Yeah.
All of this stuff, it's like, you know, it's basically the magic 8 ball is saying all signs point to revolution.
Yeah.
And I think they're scared, and thus they're trying to really crack down on the guns for that reason.
I mean, all you have to do
and they're trying to find a reason. I'm not saying they made the mass shooting happen. I'm not Sandy Hook is lie type person.
Yeah.
But I am saying they're not letting a good crisis go to waste. Because I do think that is a lot of times the case with a lot of these conspiracies where it's like, no, they didn't. Not necessarily did they create these problems. I think a lot of times they try to create problems and it flops, so they just kind of stop trying to and just use the problems that are already there to inflate. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when they go after, you know, Gaddafi. They're like, oh, this guy's just this horrible guy. But he's, like, been over there for 20 years doing this horrible shit. And it was never a problem before.
It's basically this. It's like, I already mentally fucked this man, so he might do something crazy enough for me to, you know, talk upon. Like
I said, I think really, real deal, I think they're scared. Yeah. So I think that is really what's going on, And I think we can't let this issue be changed over to the citizens' responsibility to fix when it's the state that fucked up.
Yeah.
All the way around. Like, it was in your school, with your protection, your officers let these kids die. Like, this is the state's fuck up, not individuals with guns.
Right.
Collective punishment is a war crime. As per the Nuremberg trials.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we should not be, nobody, the public should not be punished because of what somebody did. Right. You know what I mean? But we should harden the target. We should come up with ways to make this basically an impossibility.
Right.
The same way we've done with robbing banks. Because of how much we care about our money.
And we made it expensive. Like, bro, the only way...
How much do we care about our money that we made robbing banks impossible, but not shooting up schools?
Unless you're afraid of a ninja. Unless you're afraid of a ninja sneaking to the school and doing a mass stabbing with his ninja jutsus and shit. You're good. That's all you really need.
That shadow clone on you. Shadow clone jutsu.
I just remember this video of Naruto holding the gun. And I'm like, oh shit.
Stupid.
Oh man. Any other news?
Is there any other news? What else did you have any other things you wanted to talk about? Spake unto the world about?
Don't burn yourself out, my niggas.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Make sure you're always changing the life up.
Alright.
Find a way to enjoy life.
Alright.
Find a reason to be important. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, I would assume a lot of you guys are dads.
Right.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to find a reason to keep on kicking it. Yeah.
I got a free book off of Audible, right? And it's about stoicism and early Greece and shit. And because I was trying to get away from a lot of political fucking based books and shit, right? Next thing I was listening to so many. Next thing I was becoming an anarchist, a hardcore anarchist, right?
I had you over there listening to Kropotkin. You were getting radicalized.
Nah, bro. I just have to go through my list and 1987 is on there.
1984.
1984 is on there.
Oh, dude, Orwell is the goat, dude.
But
Animal Farm, also a classic.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my list. The stolen making.
Yeah, let me see that list. We're gonna read this shit aloud.
Alright.
Stoics and Epicureans.
Yes.
Bushido, the Soul of Japan. Beyond the North Wind. Theory of Everything. The Dialogues of Plato. That's good shit right there.
Right.
You Belong in the Universe by Jonathan Keats. Hell yeah. You got some Nietzsche. Ecce Homo. You got you some
Religion of the Samurai.
The Religion of the Samurai, because you're weeb.
Shut up.
The God Makers. The Iliad, that's a good one. A Critique of Practical Reason. Ooh, you got some Kant.
Yeah.
Mr. Never Lie. Metamorphosis by Ovid. Ethics.
It was free.
By Benedict Spinoza. That's a good one, though. A Book Forged in Hell by Nadler.
Mm-hmm.
2 Cheers for Anarchism. Yes, sir. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Conquest of Bread. I told you to read that one.
Yeah.
The Mushroom Medicine Cabinet. Let's just advertise that one. You got Mutual Aid by Kropotkin.
Alright.
That's a good one. 3 Tools for Tackling Tough Conversations. That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Only Things You Can See When You Slow Down. I haven't read that one.
Mm-hmm.
Black Rednecks and White Liberals by Thomas Sowell. I heard that was good, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, I'm like in the beginning. The Art of War.
The Art of War, also Sun Tzu, and the Communist Manifesto and Other Writings by Karl Marx. Hell yeah.
Let's just scroll down a little bit more. 'Cause,
You got a bunch of good shit in here, dude.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2001. Freaking Dracula.
Yeah, you got a bunch of good stuff in
Oh
here.
yeah.
Like, I got a
Oh, yeah.
bunch of shit, too. I got a bunch of Ben Shapiro in my shit, all the way to Peter Kropotkin.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I'm one of those weird, crazy guys who, like, actually listen to a lot of the thought from all sides of the spectrum.
Right.
And that's why, like, I can really devil's advocate for a lot of different ideas, even though I fully disagree with a lot of them, too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, it's like, I half agree with even communist ideas, and that, like, I just think that a free market is the way to go to allow both,
Right.
basically.
Hell, I listened to I didn't finish the book. I just wanted to hear his points. It was on. I forgot the motherfucker's name. No, I don't want to. But he was basically a white supremacist.
Oh, really?
Like it didn't come off at it from the title of the book. I think it was like Think Like a Barbarian. Think Like a Barbarian.
Yeah, but like I said, like, again,
And
like,
but in like the beginning, I was like, oh, I see where this is actually going. Right? Now I listened to him here and there, and I agreed here and there and shit, but I disagree
that's
with him
something
wholeheartedly. You know what I mean?
that's the thing I've said too, is like what a lot of people misunderstand about that whole situation
Mm-hmm.
is like racists are people,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, you can have, like, you got Newton,
Right.
right? I don't know how much anybody knows about Newton. This is a pretty interesting fact.
Right.
But he thought that there were, like, codes in the Bible where God was speaking to him and that he needed to decipher these codes.
Right.
Not Newton. Maybe it was Einstein. It's one of those. Newton or Einstein.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been a while. But it's one of those guys. But they were literally, like, hardcore religious. And he thought that, like, that was the, he thought that literally God, well, but, like, outside of that, brilliant scientist.
Right.
It's like, it's just one stupid idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm not necessarily saying that, like, you know, I think that each idea honestly should be held on its own
I
merit.
get to the point. It's like I agree to the point. I disagree with your conclusion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of that too. It's kind of and it's interesting too, because it's
Right.
like we're all human beings, and at the end of the day, we all want very similar things,
Yeah.
but we all disagree about how to get there.
Yeah. We're not really good at being future oriented, bro.
Right. And that's kind of the thing is that's what I've been telling people a lot is like we as people all believe that we would be a benevolent dictator, right?
Right.
But that's because we all agree with our beliefs, and there's a lot of people out there that don't, and they wouldn't think you so benevolent. That's why the solution to that problem is for everyone to be their own dictator.
Right.
So you can dictate yourself the way you want to and be benevolent.
All we really need,
Yeah.
all we really need for someone else is just really, you know, not a tribe per se, but a community.
Again,
you know what I mean? And they need a community that they feel safe and comfortable.
I'm
with, you know what I
rereading
mean?
Thomas Paine,
Yeah.
in his Common Sense, and it's a really he really talks about that at length, where he's talking about like people forming society and then after that forming government, but because at first you form society and basically the rules are just suggestions.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to follow them, but if you don't, like, everybody's going to shun you.
Right.
And that's kind of where I would say is it's like that should be the extent of rules on social behavior.
Right.
Like, if you want to be anti-gay or racist or whatever, you can have your little shun or whatever in your own little spot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then everybody can live where they want to live accordingly.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think the vast majority of the world will end up being very liberal. Because if you look at most of America, we're very like, I don't really give a fuck as long as it doesn't mess with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like and that's what I was talking about with you earlier. Yeah. It's like I don't necessarily. It's not because I like racists or I think racists, are good or whatever. It's like it's almost like what you were saying. It's like, why wouldn't you just let the racists go live together and be racist and have a place where it's only white people? If he doesn't feel cool
with me, why would I want him near me then?
You're right, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't really want you in the area where we're at. I'd rather you go be separated from.
If he doesn't like me, if he doesn't like me. Just by a look and shit, why the fuck do I even want that near me?
And it's kind of the case for succession, in my opinion. It's like, what does New York and Texas have in common?
There's only 2 states that people know about outside the country.
Well, I'm just saying, if you think about it, like they don't really have much in common. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, if Texas says, "Hey, I want to secede," you have all these New Yorkers like, "No." You know what I mean? Or when California wants to secede, you have all these Texans like, "No," and I'm like,
"Why?
Why?"
I mean, we
do it.
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day,
we fought a whole war over the right to secede twice. One time it didn't work out so well for the right to secede.
I mean,
but that's kind of the thing that I've kind of pointed out. Is like, don't get me wrong.
We can come to an agreement saying, "Yeah, you still part of America." Maybe it's like, we still scratch your back, you scratch ours type shit. But besides that, I don't see why not. Like, we don't need to really govern the whole fucking country on some things,
right?
Like gay rights and stuff.
That's kind of
like, honestly, if you want something to happen, just let it happen gradually. You know what I mean? Because even still,
that's kind of what I mean. Not even necessarily that. It's like, because gay marriage is a little bit of a separate thing. It's kind of like, to me, it's like, if 2 men want to live together, who is anybody else to say anything about it? And if they want to call it marriage, they can call it marriage. If they found somebody that wants to marry them, then that person wants to marry them. It's their freedom of religion to marry them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or not marry them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's kind of irrelevant to the state. It's irrelevant to any of it. But like, if in that same vein, if those 2 men are married, and I have a marriage between a man and a woman, and I think it's wrong that they're married, and I don't recognize them as being married, then I don't have to. Right? And then you could have and then if you want to have a legal binding of assets and stuff like that, that's recognized no matter who 2 individuals it is. Otherwise, to me, that's wrong.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like you got to separate these things out to where it's like, keep the state in the state's lane and keep the society in the society's lane.
Right.
Society should govern society. What people want to do should be allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where you have these things like drug laws that are fucking 60 years behind the people. What the people want. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to legislate social things. You don't want to legislate the culture. You don't want to get rid of something so people don't turn out bad. Because that's what you end up with. Is later on we realize, because we progress and we learn and we see what society turns into when things change. You know what I mean? Right. We learn that it's not really that deep, and rap music isn't going to turn everybody into murderous thugs.
Doom is not that bad, bro.
Right, and violent video games isn't going to turn our kids into killers.
Right.
It's one of those things. It's like you learn that later, and then you go back and you change. But it's like you can't. It's harder to do that if you have a whole laws in effect that you have to go back and get rid of.
That's right. But I think
that's a good rap right there.
I think our state needs to succeed, bro.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we get all this damn money now.
This country's too big, dude. There's like 300 million people.
Right. Like, it's where we live in. I remember back in the day, it was just so quiet.
There's not really a good correlation between large countries and success, but there is a very strange correlation between large countries and tyranny. Just pointing that out.
Right.
Like, the larger a country is spread out, it seems like the more tyrannical they get.
Right.
You look at Rome, you can look at China, you can look at Korea at one point, you can look at Britain, France, Spain, Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a long history of, expanding size-wise and tyranny ensuing, because it's really hard to keep that many people in line.
Yeah. Like,
without a lot of force, and that's why I say that's why I say it's like you shouldn't. You shouldn't keep those people together. Like, and that's kind of what I'm saying is it's really not cool that like you have it set up the way it is, where you literally it's just a tyranny of the majority. It's one side, each side's taking turns in setting the rules for the whole country.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's really weird when like they're so different.
Oh, it really is. Like,
it's like if your cultures are so different, just do your thing and we'll do ours.
Yeah.
And that was the whole idea. It's like, and then if you don't want to secede, that's cool too. We could go back to the 10th Amendment.
Hell, even though...
You know what I mean? And let these guys do it state by state and then get rid of this, large lumbering federal government.
Even though most black people in Alabama in the South period are vote Democrat most of the time, they have very conservative mindset.
And that's kind of the thing. It's kind of interesting too.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, me growing up here, hearing gay marriage and shit just sent us in the fucking tussy, bro. At my old church, my pastor outly refusing. He said we would never marry gay people in here. I'm like, yo.
And that's been talked about a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. I got some things I got to do here.
Yeah, me too. You gotta go play with the little one.
Play with the kiddo.
Right.
But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us rant and rave about the old Texas school shooting. I really think it's horrible what happened.
Right.
I could scream and cry about all the cop stuff, but you guys already know how much I hate the cops.
Fuck the cops.
I think it's kind of interesting how a lot of these, really pro-cop people are sharing this anti-cop shit, because these kids, like, they're starting to realize they have no care. Like, these are not individuals meant to protect you. They're meant to serve the state.
Right. Ain't that
anything else you got to say?
Oh, fuck cops, man.
Yeah.
Fuck the police. My heart goes out to the victims, though.
For sure, man. Prayers out to you guys. I hope we can get something handled so this doesn't happen.
Right. I don't want this shit to happen again. I mean, it will, but...
It's horrible, dude. It's like little ass kids too, man. It wasn't even like teenagers. It's bad too. Don't get me wrong, but like these are like
it hits harder when it's like a little kid.
Yeah, this is like little kids.
Right. Oh man.
It's like that's the only time I actually kind of have a little bit of a worth. Like I will tell you, I am a bigot when it comes to children versus adults.
Right.
Like I do definitely see kids as worth more. Their lives are worth more.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
like it is like superior humans, right?
I'll beat the shit out of someone even if it's not my kid.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like literally, like way over.
Mm-hmm. I'll be his fucking Batman right then and there.
And the younger the kid, the more I'm like vicious about it, and that's just horrendous. Like. Because, like I said, like especially a lot of the reason being is like the younger they are, the more innocent they really are.
Right.
The more they really don't know what they're doing when they do bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're just being kids.
But once you hit 21, I stop giving a shit. It's like, man, that sucks.
Peace out, guys.